Hi, in this quick video I'm going to show you the basics of HTML forms. So you can see the form on my page here just has a couple of text inputs, one for name, email address, a password input, a radio box selection field, and a field that must be a number. So the HTML looks like this. Let's just look at the source of the page. So the form starts with a form tag. It has an action, an ink type, and a method. So the action is the script that's going to receive all of this form information when the submit button is pressed. In this case, I've got my website set up to see the first word as the controller and the second word as the action or the method that runs, the controller's method that runs. So my code will call the user controller and its perform register method and send it all of this data. The encryption type is I always set to multi-part form data. There's different ink types, or you could leave it blank, but this one is the most secure. And if you need to upload files or images, then you definitely want to use this one. So in general, it's a good idea to just always use this one. The method equals post. So there's a few different kinds of methods, but the main ones are get and post. If you do a get request, all of the form information will appear in the URL. And there are some reasons why you might want that. So, for example, so you could bookmark a search. Some reasons why you don't want that: you wouldn't want to paste somebody's email address or password into the URL. There's also a size limit on the URLs, maybe 256 characters or something like that. So if you're posting, say, a blog post, you wouldn't be able to fit it all in the URL. So in general, we're going to use post for the method. Now I've got some divs in here for some styling, but here's the first name field, the input field for the name. The name is what I'm calling it, so this is for the first person's first name, so name equals name. The type of input is text, which means it's going to give you a text box that you can type in. And the value equals this. This is just the default value. If nothing were typed into the text box, then it would show this. Moving on, for the email address, also the type is text, the name is email. This name is how I refer to it later on in the code. That I'll show you this later. In PHP, you use $_get, that variable, and I would ask for this key in that associative array in PHP, or in Python I would ask for this key in the dictionary, and I'll show you that later. And this is just a default value that doesn't show up if something is already typed there. The verified email address is the same as the email address. Type equals text, and there's a default value. Let's look at this again. These values are there because I've already typed them in and hit submit, and this form is trying to validate itself. It wasn't validated, so it took the things that I typed and passed it back to the form so they would be filled out on the second viewing of the form by the user. So let's go back and do the password field. The name is password, so I'm going to be referring to this as $_get square brackets, tick marks, and password in PHP. And in Python, I would say query.getValue parentheses tick marks password. The type is password, and what that does for you is when you're typing in it, it turns all the characters into little dots so you can't see what you're typing. I wouldn't bet on any security beyond that. So that's password, and then rating. So this is a radio box. So to do a radio box, you set all the names equal to the same thing, and that's how the web page knows that they're in the same group. They all are of type radio, which gives them the little button that you can press. This little button. And the value is what's going to come across in the script. So in PHP, if I ask for $_get square brackets tick marks rating, the value is going to be either 1, 2, 3, or whichever one is checked. So at the bottom of the form, so I have a favorite number input. Here I'm using type equals text. I think in HTML5 you can do type equals number or integer, and it'll do kind of client-side validation. But just for backward compatibility, I'm not going to do any HTML5 specific stuff. I'm just going to do things that work in all browsers, so I'm just leaving it type equals text. And finally, I've got input type equals submit, and that gets you the submit button at the bottom of the page, and that is how you submit a form. I'm sure you can probably do it with JavaScript if you wanted to. And then you close the form with the closing form tag, and that's the end of the form. Put all the styling you want in there, you get something that looks like this. And in the next video, I'm going to go over the code that does the validation. So if your email doesn't look right, it'll say email must look like this. If you type something weird for your name, it says your name can only contain letters and spaces, and this has to be an integer and things like that.